Hello everyone. To this day, exactly 11 years ago, Chris was talking about players being able to do their own paint jobs.
It actually happens inside the shader. It's pretty cool. There's a sort of pretty efficient way of storing the data so it's not massive amounts of texture memory. Sign distance fields if anyone's interested. But it's pretty cool. So yeah, well, so for what will be happening going forward is now we'll be able to roll out, different sort of, first of all the skins that we've already promised, but probably some new ones, and at some point we'll allow tools for people to be able to sort of do their own paint job. And we've got a fairly efficient way of storing the data, so it's not going to be a huge amount. I think the paint is it a 512?
What, for the
paint job? Yeah, I can't remember what the texture size is.
well, it depends on what decal you're putting on, but most of the decals themselves are they're like 512.
Well, I'm not talking about the decal, I'm talking about the paint.
The whole paint?
The paint
I think it's a
is.
1024, isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, 1024.
All right. And at some point, we'll allow tools for people to be able to sort of do their own paint job. And at some point, we'll allow tools for people to be able to sort of do their own paint job.
We showed off a video with Nate Dearsley demonstrating a hex code paint editor, a tool that was originally designed internally for artists on the ship team in order to help, color and paint stuff. But it was said during the thing that, this would be a great tool to give to org leaders and stuff. They could give out their hex codes to their players and all have a unified paint scheme and stuff like this. So the idea itself is not dead.
It was never dead.
Okay.
Yeah, it's absolutely something we still want to be able to support and give players the freedom to make their ships more their ships.
To be fair, Chris said at some point we will allow players to do their own paint jobs. Chris didn't say when. But I don't think anyone would have thought we still don't have this 11 years later. Players choosing their own colors for their ships, orcs having their ships in orc colors, would be trivial to implement. It would not take anyone away from trying to solve performance issues because these are different tasks done by different people. I can only conclude Chris doesn't want to give us the option to choose our own paints because Chris learned he can make a lot of money with quick and easy color swaps done by an intern. I understand CRG needs money, Star Citizen has a long way to go, and I understand people love to support the project. I did this myself, I am way past concierge. However, most skins and paints are very easy color swaps and way too expensive. And even if those would be free, we still need hex codes because players and orcs want ships in individual colors. When there's a discussion on Spectrum about hex code colors, there's usually one comment: I don't want to see pink ships. People, this ship sailed a long time ago. We have pink Stark Hidden Dragonflies. We have pink Valentine's Day ship colors. We have pink armor sets, for example Starstruck and Envy. We have bear helmets, we have Nerf guns. We have Fortnite color schemes, for example Mirai Pulse. We have bones on armor and weapons. Other games, like for example iRacing and ACC, let players totally customize their cars without any problems. In a game like Star Citizen, which is full of magic, seeing pink ships doesn't annoy me, magic does. Yeah, and now we have this. So please, shut up with I don't want to see pink ships. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye. Auf Wiedersehen.
So essentially the process kind of begins with we want to get these pre-configured schemes done. So you could, for example, go off and go, oh, you know what, I want a NASA themed kind of skin, or I want, a District 9 themed skin, or I want a pink Hello Kitty themed skin. And then essentially, we as artists create, well, basically they're material files. They're tiny in memory. They're so small that we can have like hundreds of them if we want to, because they're all calling the same textures. That's what's done under the hood, okay? Once those material files are created and obviously named accordingly and sanity checked that the emblem is called emblem and the submaterial ID is called submaterial ID 1, 2, and 3, they have to be the same names. That's then handed to tech design to then kind of set that up with the loadout that they're putting together for that ship. Further forward, we want these kind of paint configurations to become hex codes. So if you're in like a guild of 20 players, and the clan leader said, all right, this is our paint scheme, there's going to be no like guessing work. Like you get the hex code, you put it in there, and it automatically will say, oh, you know what, we've got matte black against yellow against pink, something crazy, and every ship in your fleet, you can put that hex code on and it will automatically go into that color configuration. So there's a lot of kind of cool things, and as artists we do this stuff all day every day, and we were just like, well, why wouldn't we give the end user this functionality? So that's the overall plan. There is a lot of kind of very things you have to be careful with when you're authoring the shaders for this stuff, so it can accommodate these options, but we're on top of that, and that's kind of, yeah, it's good. That's what we're doing on the initial kind of burst of ships right now. I think it's really cool, and it's really amazing to see. Like today, I just kind of caught up with the guys and looked at what we're working on for that stuff, and there's like a fleet of 50 ships, all with different skins, all with different loadouts, and it injects color into the game. You can have your kind of personal things going on, which is kind of cool. If I was going to pick one to fly and customize myself, I've always got a sweet spot for the Avenger. If it was me, I'd probably go for a dirty chrome kind of finish. The shape is just kind of so kind of primitive. To get some kind of highly reflective material on it, I think would just look super cool in space. So that's what I would go for.
Hey, you're still here. You might want to join me on Twitter. My Twitter account is Camural_SC.